Casale, who's a former Labour Party member of Italy's parliament, joins us from Rome. Welcome to the programme. Roger, first of all, your reaction to this. I mean, we've been here before. We've seen images like this in the past. What do you make of it?
We have been here before. Good morning. And we're going to be here again. And it is a time where I think we need to reflect and learn from mistakes that have been made in the past and be calm about this and try to get away from the politics and the polemics of it and focus on the facts. And fact number one is that migrants arriving in southern Italy are not just arriving in Italy, they're arriving in Europe. This is a European problem, and there needs to be a European response. And fact number two is that there is international law that regulates this, and Italy needs to come into line with international law. And the captain of the ship with the 35 men who are still on board is launching legal proceedings because the law of the sea requires Italy to allow these men to disembark. And so in the end, Italy will have to comply with the law. And let's remember, the Italian government wants to show that it does respect the rule of law. Well, here's an early test for it.
And on that very point, do you see the government there of Meloni, Berlusconi and Salvini actually complying with the law there?
I think that Berlusconi will want the Italian government to obey the law, but he doesn't have a tremendous amount of leverage, but he has some. Salvini, let's remember, was when he was interior minister, he got into very deep water about this himself because he was charged with criminal proceedings for not allowing people to disembark. I think Meloni, in the end, she will allow the people to disembark. I think she's playing this because remember, there are tensions within the Italian government. It's a coalition of right-wing parties, and one right-wing party wants to look more right-wing than the other. And it's very unfortunate that they're using this migrant crisis for that purpose. But I think in the end, Meloni needs to show that she is not going to play politics. She's going to be a responsible prime minister and do the right thing. She has allowed women and children and sick people to disembark, and I thank her for that. And now she needs to comply with international law and let the others embark, and also let the other ships that are trying to bring migrants to Italy, who've been distressed migrants who've been rescued from the sea and who need the opportunity to apply for asylum. She now needs to allow those ships to dock as well. But I think she also needs help from Europe. I think Europe will intervene, and that's a way to try and solve this crisis quickly, because let's remember, people are suffering. These are human beings, they're not objects. And
Roger, you say Europe will intervene, and in your first answer you said, this is Italy, of course, but this is a European problem, a problem for Europe. Is there a shared agreement in place that can really work fast, or is there an agreement in place at all?
I think I think there is an agreement that Italy should respect the rule of law, and so I think pressure will be applied to Italy to comply with international law. As far as giving more support to Italy is concerned, I think that is a longer-term issue. There are agreements in place, but we can see from this crisis that they're not working very well, and that's not just an Italian problem; that's a European problem. And so I think the difficulty is that a lot of right-wing parties, in particular, exploit the immigration issue to win votes. But what we actually need is a rational, liberal public debate about what to do about this issue. Because let's remember, today we've got COP starting in Egypt. People are not leaving their homes in Africa or Libya just to look for a better life. They're being driven from their homes by climate change, by violence, by poverty. And there are millions and millions of people around the world. Europe has to answer the question, how many migrants can we take in Europe? And the answer to that question cannot be zero. So we need to keep working on a better European approach, a fairer European. It doesn't mean letting everybody come here who wants to, but it also shouldn't mean leaving people on ships in ports in Italy, as we're seeing this morning. So we've got to keep working on a strategy.
Roger, thank you so much for your analysis today and for your comments. Roger Casale, a former Labour Party member of Parliament, joining us there from Rome. And thank you also for linking it to COP 27 there in Egypt. Thank you.
Thank you very much.